Hey everyone, I'm Ethan Wang, and this is my timeline redesign, the physical one out in the hall. So before we get into that, a little bit about me. I'm the communications intern here, and I go to the University of Virginia, majoring in commerce and minoring in data science. And I enjoy making videos, exercising, and trying new foods. So I think it makes the most sense to go through this, my experience here chronologically first, and then afterwards touch on why my work and communications work as a whole is important. My first 2 weeks were spent learning the tools that I need to use for this project. I learned Illustrator through LinkedIn Learning, and it's a unique program because it uses vector graphics, which are very scalable and works well for physical pieces like the timeline. At the same time, I was taking a general design course called Baseline, and that just focused on general design principles and taught me this program called Figma, which was the program I used the most for this project. It's like a like a layout tool and prototyping tool. So here I want to show off some of the designs I made during the general design course. And the one on the very left was the first one I made before I got started with the course. They had me make something before I knew anything. And then the three panels on the right is a magazine spread I made at the very end. So I just wanted to show that off. After that, I moved into the planning and research phase. I needed to figure out the contents of the piece before I designed it, or I'd run into a lot of issues later. What I did was a lot of cross-referencing the existing timeline and the timeline on the website, and also the newsletter, which I used to add more recent events to update the timeline. So there was a lot of merging, editing, and cross-referencing. And I think that this is the part of the project where AI helped me the most. I fed it all these different different PDFs of timelines, and it kind of acted as a database and helped me categorize events and help me with the research. At this point, I began to explore what I wanted the timeline to actually be, and I decided for it to be sort of like a museum piece, something that is approachable, but still technical, but provides many explanations. And I chose it to be this because focused ultrasound is a technology that saves lives, and the more people that know about it and can approach it easily, the more lives that will be saved. So these are just different references I took, and I took little ideas from each one to craft my own product. And then here is the first version of the timeline. My main focus was on laying out the content and then figuring out how much room there was after the text for images. You can see on the right is a zoomed in version of the content panel, and the trailing end of the timeline is just some images that we had that I would eventually disperse throughout the timeline. The next major version of the timeline was a colored version. Here, the images correspond with the content either to the left or right of the content piece. And there is some missing space at the end to add the most up-to-date events, which at the time were still being edited and approved. And also images now have captions. And then there were a couple more iterations before this, but I want to focus now on the step that solidified the final look of the piece. Rachel, my mentor, and I took a few different color palettes based off of the Foundation's color palette and made a few different versions to present to Neil. These versions changed basically what color text it would be. It would either be white or black, depending on the contrast slash like brightness of the background color. And we presented this to Neil, and then also presented some material consisting of the layout and just how it would look generally. And I made sure to utilize the already established colors of the foundation and keep the tone of voice and fonts because it's all essential to, sorry, brand identity. A little bit more about brand identity. It's not just what looks nice. A strong brand identity can build trust, recognition, and a deep emotional connection. There's a lot of different elements to it, like typography, colors, imagery, tone, design style. And it's important to remember that Focus Ultrasound Foundation is a brand. And I think one brand that illustrates identity very well is this company called Teenage Engineering, and they are a music hardware company. And I think that they evoke a very futuristic, minimal yet playful style, and their designs are instantly recognizable. And I don't own anything from them other than a shirt, but I still am very drawn to their products just solely based off of their brand. And now I want to show off the final version of the timeline. So we ended up going with this bubble gum kind of color palette, a poppy color palette that corresponds with the foundation's colors. And some events were moved around and some pictures were changed. But yeah, this is the final product. And something notable is that there's a QR code at the very end of the timeline. And this helps funnel visitors and viewers to the website where they can learn more about Focus Ultrasound. So the physical timeline acts more as a highlights reel and a way to gather intrigue that pushes people towards exploring more if they're interested. And then here's just a slightly zoomed in portion of the timeline, just so you can see the design a little clearer. So now I want to talk about why this all matters. Clear communication changes how people engage with this technology and complex sciences as a whole. With more people understanding the benefits of focus ultrasound, more people will support it, and that will save lives. Even more broadly, design is not just posters on the wall or a museum piece. Everything around us is designed. And how something is designed determines how we interact and understand that thing. And for me personally, learning design principles has helped me be more organized and deliberate in all aspects of my life. And I think that it's something that all people should learn a little bit about. And I want to say thank you for listening to my presentation. Thank you to my mentor, Rachel, for helping me create these pieces and giving me the room to grow my skills. And I want to thank everyone for contributing to my experience this summer. And I really enjoyed my time here and learned a lot.